Let me know how I sound. I am trying a new mic and I have had the worst audio issues. So, yeah, worst case, I'll just unplug it and use my phone audio. I hope you are all doing well. Personally, I am finally coming out of the fog that I have been in. So, I'm feeling a lot better, and hopefully, this will last moving forward. Today, we are going to be talking all about glitches, Mandela effect, timeline shifts, 3D to 5D transitions. It's been a wild ride, and this is something that I have touched upon and talked about for a long time. Actually, since I started my YouTube channel, I have been talking about this huge, massive shift that we are all in the middle of right now. So, keep in mind that I have so many videos on this, and you can find them all on my website. If you are interested in this topic, I do so many deep dives on the Mandela effect, on glitches in the matrix, on the 3D to 5D transition. Today, I'm going to be really covering what I felt was needed for today, which is kind of where we're at right now, and how do we best move through this transitioning time, and also some of the symptoms that you're going to be feeling along with this. Now, I guess the first thing is, why are we shifting? What is really happening? Or why is it happening? And at a more scientific level, it's actually just a shift in frequency. And the two main sort of the ways that we can measure this is through the Schumann resonance, which is influenced by a variety of factors. But essentially, that measures the frequency or the vibration of the planet. And what can really affect or change the vibration and frequency of the planet are things, a variety of things, but things like solar flares, as well as, I don't know what to call them, but like cosmic waves is what I like to call them. Essentially, when there are massive cosmic events out in the universe and in our galaxy, such as, say, a supernova, all right, when a star explodes, it releases this mass amount of energy. And eventually, if that star is close enough to our solar system, that ripple effect of energy is going to hit planet Earth. It's going to hit the solar system. And what I've been told and what I've seen through my remote viewing is that I call them cosmic waves. I'm sure there's a better name for it. But essentially, these cosmic waves of energy, it comes through our solar system. It can actually kind of like wind blow past our sun, our central star, and it actually sort of ignites the sun, and it pushes a lot of the solar flares into our direction. So, like I said, it's a variety of things, but essentially, what you need to know is there are astrological, don't think that's the right word, but there are some universal, sort of universe type things that are happening that are influencing our vibrational frequency. This isn't just woo woo. Oh, the frequency is raising. It is, but there are actually scientifically measurable aspects to it. And I am really sorry, but all week I have had such a hard time finding the right words for things. And this week we have had some fairly significant solar flares, as well as some massive Schumann resonance spikes. So, what I'm saying is, we have had some frequency shifts just this week. And for whatever reason, being absent minded or not being able to find the right words is actually a symptom of this. And the symptoms can be hard to pinpoint because everyone is affected by these frequency shifts in different ways. I want to go over this was kind of later on in my notes here, but I want to actually just talk about some of the symptoms right off the bat. Now, of course, one of the sort of more obscure symptoms to these frequency shifts and the raising of the frequency on planet Earth are things like more deja vus, more vivid dreams, things like more paranormal experiences, clairaudience, clairvoyance, having your own spiritual abilities kick in. The frequency is increasing, and that's going to affect our vibrational sensitivities, right? Like I said, everyone's going to experience it in a different way. Um, and then, of course, the Mandela effect, this really bizarre phenomenon where some of us remember something and then others remember something else. Now, I'm going to give you a really good Mandela effect that it's not going to relate to any one of you because it is my own personal Mandela effect. And that's what we have to realize as well, is that this is not just a global phenomenon, this is an individual phenomenon as well. So the other day I was driving, this was a couple weeks ago, and um, it had been, honestly, I want to say maybe 10 months since I have driven this route, okay? And I'm driving past this building, and it was a brand new sort of corporate office building. And about a year ago, I drove past this building. It was brand new, freshly built, and the roof was like it was a metal roof, and they ended up going with almost like a white metal or like a very bright sort of silvery color. And I thought it was really cool and modern looking, so I took note of it. And so the rest of the building was black, and this bright whitish metal roof. So I drove past it, I thought it was really cool, and then a couple weeks later I drove past the building again, and the roof was black. It was metal, same material, but this time it was black. And I was just staring at this building thinking, this is a brand new building. There is no way that they decided to probably spend another good chunk of money to change the roof that was brand new. So I'm thinking it was a Mandela effect. And I was like, okay, that's weird and bizarre. And like part of me always wants to like take pictures of everything just to sort of prove what has changed and what hasn't, but it's really impossible to do that. Part of me wanted to walk into the building and ask, were you thinking about having a different color for your roof? Anyway, then months went by and the roof stayed black. It was always black. And I was like, yep, that was weird or whatever. All right, cool. Couple weeks ago, I drove past this building again. Like I said, it had been about 10 months. And I drove past it, and lo and behold, the roof is white again. It had changed back. And I'm thinking, what timeline did I shift out of? What timeline did I shift back into? Who was involved in this timeline? Like, it just really brings up all of these different questions when you have some sort of weird glitch in the matrix or Mandela effect like this. So please keep in mind that things can change both individually and collectively. When we shift frequencies, things in our reality change. Now, I'm going to give you another really good example. And this was like probably a decade ago, like 10 plus years ago. And I was working with an individual client. And at the time, I was like knee deep in understanding time and linear versus nonlinear, duality and Mandela effects and glitches. Like I was so deep in it. And I had a client who came to me, and I've told this story before. So if you've heard it before, sorry about that. But anyway, so she calls me up and she says, Elizabeth, something really weird just happened and I don't know what's going on. And she told me that, she had this conversation with her husband the night before. And she said, for whatever reason, like typically at night, our routine is that I watch TV upstairs, he watches his sports or TV downstairs, and we're sort of in our own zones. And then we just like fall asleep or whatever, no big deal. She said, last night, for whatever reason, we didn't end up watching TV, and we proceeded to have this 3 to 4 hour conversation about everything, about family issues, about the fight that we had a month ago, about all of these different things. And she said it was so deeply healing and so incredible. And I went to bed thinking, wow, like who is this man that I married? Because I haven't seen this version of him. However, she said the next morning they woke up and they went grocery shopping together. And on their way to the grocery store, she turns to him and says, wow, like, I'm so happy we had that conversation last night. It really made me feel better about all of these things that are going on. And he turns to her quite confused and said, well, what do you mean? We never talked last night. I went downstairs and I watched the game, and you went upstairs and you watched your shows, and then we fell asleep like usual. And she was so weirded out. She really thought that he had lost his memory or that he was just a different person or what was going on. And I didn't know what was going on either. And of course, when I tapped into it, it turns out that they both matched each other in a higher frequency. And within that space of frequency, in that new timeline, 5D, whatever you want to call it, they were able to connect on all of these levels. They went to sleep, and when they woke up, she happened to continue to be in that higher frequency, which means she remembered the conversation that happened in that alternate timeline the night before. And he woke up in a lower frequency, 3D or whatever you want to call it, a different timeline where that conversation never happened to begin with, thus creating the Mandela effect. All right? Right now, we are in a time of great transition. It's not just shifting your timeline and then maintaining that timeline for a month. It is shifting timelines multiple times a day. Like, let me ask you, right? This year, 2025, have you noticed that in a 24-hour period, you are creating new opportunities, having incredible conversations, meeting new people, having new breakthroughs and realizations, having some weird spiritual phenomenon happening, and then all of a sudden you're crashing down and you're sucked into family drama, and then this is blowing up and you're in a fight and you're struggling with finances. It's not just a period of months where we are experiencing lows, and then a period of months where we're experiencing highs. And in the past, it was a period of years where we were experiencing lows, and a period of years we were experiencing highs. Nowadays, things are happening, things are changing so rapidly that I would not be surprised that in a given day, you are up and down and up and down. And what happens is when we are shifting and transitioning so rapidly, it's exhausting. If you have been sick more often, if you have been tired more often, if you have been experiencing body pains or headaches, or even just weird hot and cold flashes, these are all very common symptoms. Losing your memory, not being able to find the right words, having bouts of dizziness or vertigo. These are all a part of the symptoms of a rapidly changing and transitioning frequency. Sometimes it's nausea or anxiety, a lot of anxiety. All right, these are all very common. Energetically, things are happening so rapidly. Physically, we are not used to that rapidly changing energy, so it's hard for us to kind of keep up with things. And that's okay. It's overwhelming. And we've never truly been taught how to deal with and navigate these increasingly fluctuating energies. So I have to let you know that you're not alone in this, okay? But I do have advice for you. This is very, very important. And if you're still here, if you are watching this video, then this advice is specifically chosen for you. Your frequency brought in this moment, this conversation, this information. Whether it's right now, September 1st, 2025, or if it's in 5 years from now, this is what you need to hear. Are you ready? The best thing to do when you are experiencing all of these symptoms, when you are shifting so rapidly between frequencies is to experience all aspects of reality. And let me break down what those aspects are. And what I'm about to tell you is a core fundamental truth of the universe. This is not a human thing. This is not a 3D thing. This is well, actually, it is it's multiple things. This is a universal thing. This concept applies to this universe, okay? And it is so core and so foundational and so important. And if you can master this core, this truth, this thing I'm going to lay out for you, if you can master this, then you're good to go. Really, truly, for the rest of your life and for future incarnations. All right, so here it is. And I've talked about this before, okay? But this is so, so key. And this is the only thing we need to be able to do right now. All right, enough hype, enough buildup. Here it is. It's called vibrational navigation. That is my term for it. Take it or leave it. All right? It is the ability to consciously navigate between frequencies. That is the key. No matter what, the frequencies are forcing us to shift. One day the roof is black and the next it's white, and it's like, what is going on? Okay? It's like the energies are taking us into a roller coaster ride. But what if I told you that you could actually create the roller coaster? No matter what, there are going to be ups, and no matter what, there are going to be downs. The difference is knowing what's coming and being able to consciously navigate that, being able to control what's coming next, right? We are human beings. The core of being human is experience, and the core of experience is movement, and the core of movement is challenge. It's suffering. Yay for the human condition. Okay? That means that no matter what vibration you're in, even in the higher vibrations, you can't avoid suffering. You can't avoid change, and you definitely can't avoid challenge. It is a part of this density. What you can do, though, is you can choose to experience it. What happens to us right now is that everything feels like it's out of our control. Everything feels like it's happening to us rather than us happening to life. The core understanding of vibrational navigation is you being consciously aware to choose what frequency you want to experience. So let me give you a good example of this, okay? Let's say family. All right, and you could apply this concept to your job, you could apply it to financial stress, you could apply it to really anything. But let's just say family, okay? So at, say, a core level, a foundational level, there's a lot of drama happening in your family. Maybe it's related to you directly, maybe it's not. It doesn't matter because you're involved. You're being pulled into family drama. Now, at a lower frequency level, it is painful. It is exhausting. You're feeling everyone's emotions. You're angry about it, then you're guilty about it, and then you're upset, and you feel grieving about it. What all of the lower emotions, okay? You're sucked into it. You are totally engrossed and involved in it. That is the 3D level or the lower frequency experience of said issue. In this case, it's a family issue. That's important to have that experience. It is so important. Spiritual bypassing is saying, everything's happening for a reason. Don't worry about it because it's all, it's all going to work out. When we do that, we don't allow ourselves to have the full human experience, which means being present with the bullshit, being present with the drama, being present with the trauma, being present with the lower emotions. experience it, okay, at that level. However, there is also another option. And the other option is to take a step away from it and ask yourself why you created this to begin with. Why did I put myself in this family? Why is this drama happening right now? What am I learning from it? Why did I create it? How can I take responsibility around it? And how can I learn, grow, and move forward from it? All of a sudden, you take yourself out of the victim level of frequency into the empowered creator level of frequency of, hey, this is happening for my best interest. So actually, how am I growing from it? That's the 5D level. That is actually a whole different frequency. That's a whole different timeline. We need to realize at a quantum simultaneous level that both of these timelines, both of these frequencies, both of these densities are simultaneously existing. No longer are we living in a linear reality where it's either one, fear, hate, loathing, jealousy, attachment, obligation, or the other, empowerment, love, compassion, embrace, forgiveness. They're both happening. Okay? It is important to experience both of them. All right. There's a third level to this, okay? If we were to be super linear or superhuman or super singular about this, we would say, yeah, the universe is polarized and there's high and there's low and it's a spectrum and we're experiencing the spectrum of frequency and that's all that this universe and this experience has to offer. But that is not the case. There is another option. Anyone want to guess? Any community team members want to just put out the third option? Because I know you know this, because I talk about this. The third option is neutrality, or other words known as 0-point frequency. Now, this is a pretty badass concept. Instead of experiencing just the lower fear density frequency, or just the higher compassionate unconditional love frequency, you take a step back from both perspectives completely. And trust me, it takes some work. It takes some work, it takes some learning, it takes some time, it could take lifetimes to get to the point where you're able to take a step back. It's called equanimity, to observe everything without reaction, which means you don't engage, and to experience both love and fear simultaneously. When you get to the point where the higher and the lower are simultaneously coexisting, you step into a space, that 0-point neutrality space of, I'm not even kidding you, everything in existence and nothing in existence all at the same time. One thing I used to do often, and this was when I lived in Toronto, I would go on the busiest street corner I could and I would sit down. Now I wouldn't sit on the ground. I'd usually find like a flower, like a raised flower bed to like sit on the edge of. And I would sit there and I would close my eyes and I would quiet my mind and I would open my eyes and say, all of this exists. You've got the horns honking, you've got the people crossing, you've got the lights flashing, you've got all of the city noises, all of the commotion, all of the chaos. And yet when I close my eyes, I close one of my senses off to that is existing. And then I slowly but surely tune out the audio. And I get into a place where none of that exists because I'm not currently observing it. We can get into a place where none of the family drama exists because you're not observing it. And then, when you feel strong enough, you can choose to tap into the lower densities, to experience the challenge, to experience the emotion, the fear, the guilt, the shame, the jealousy, the obligation, the human shit. And then you can choose to take a higher step up and experience it from a different perspective by asking yourself, why is this happening? Why did I create this? How am I learning from this? How do I move forward from this? And how can I grow from this? And then you can choose to take a step out of both of those and realize that you are none of this. You are actually not a part of your family. You are not any of the labels that you attached yourself to. You're not even a human. And I'm not saying that you're an alien either. You are none of it. You are none of it because you are all of it. And when you can get yourself into that state, you realize that every single person in your life is just a reflection of the same energy that you are. And every single aspect of your life you have put on your path to help you experience yourself. You chose this. You showed up for this. You aligned yourself to this moment, to all of it and none of it. And I want to let you know that it's not about experiencing neutrality. It's not about experiencing love. It's not about experiencing fear. We are human beings. We are in our PhD thesis of incarnation. And that means that we need to show up for all three of those things. Vibrational navigation, the ability to choose consciously the frequency that you are in, the angle that you wish to perceive the life you are living. That right there is mastery over reality. Period. Mic drop. So, yeah, it's okay to feel shitty. It's okay to have fear, doubt, insecurity, overwhelm, anxiety. Feel it. That is just as important as the love and the light and the butterflies and the rainbows and all the woo-woo bullshit. Show up for all of it. And then you begin to realize that neither of those are the truth. They are both one side of the same coin. When you can see polarity for what it is, which is illusion and illusion, then you can truly see it all, which is the 0 point. If you want to know more about Mandela effects, about glitches in the matrix, if you want to know more about 3D to 5D timeline shifts, or even just vibrational navigation, I have multiple videos on every single one of these topics where I deep dive. If you want to know, it's out there. It's not on my YouTube, it's on my website, and you can watch all of them ad-free. And a lot of them are just a free membership. And some of the other more intense ones, you gotta sign up. But either way, if you want to deep dive, they are out there for you. And I'm telling you that once you start going down this rabbit hole, once you start exploring these concepts, weird things start to happen. You start to experience more vivid dreams. You start to have more deja vu. You start to experience more glitches in the matrix and Mandela effects yourself. You start to experience how quantumly simultaneous this reality truly is. And it's only going to get stranger. It's only going to get more weird. All right? So please keep that in mind. And for those of you who have been really struggling, I want to put it out there. I'm so excited. My next book is up for pre-sale. It won't be coming out until January 2026, but you can get your hands on it right now. I mean, you're going to have to wait, but you can pre-order it and buy it right now. I'm like super pumped to be working with a publisher because it's everywhere. It's called Your Anxiety is Giving Me Anxiety. And it truly gives you such a remarkable, brand new approach to anxiety in a spiritual way that really has not been talked about or thought about before, truly because I have suffered from anxiety myself. So, what is it really? Where does it come from? And believe it or not, I talk a lot about about timelines, about past, present, and future. It gets kind of weird, but it gets so relieving. I find for the soul. Your anxiety is giving me anxiety. You can Google it. You'll find it on Walmart, Target, Barnes and Noble, Indigo, Chapters, Simon and Schuster. It is everywhere right now for pre-sale. So please go pick up a copy, check it out, get excited for the release, because I truly think this book is going to help so many people who are struggling and all they have is medication or quick fixes. And that's not what this book is about. It's about truly understanding what it is, where it comes from, and how to stop it for good. All right, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I know a lot of you are not subscribed, so if you dig this content, please hit that subscribe button. Also hit the like and share it to someone else who just needs a bit of a pick-me-up these days. All right, you've got this. You're not alone. I love you guys so much. Keep up the good work. There is light at the end of the tunnel, and it's okay to be in a low, and it's okay to be in a high, because they are all just experiences of this beautiful quantum reality that we are currently existing in. Bye for now.